Hey everybody, this is Alzorath and welcome back to Hard West. We are going to be going around exploring for our $25,000 buy-in. Let's go ahead and check the hospital again. Cassandra and her ragged crew return to the hospital. The Mother Superior greets them with a nod. Yeah, there's nothing we can really do in there. We can't do anything at the Fate Trader either. We could buy stuff, but we kind of want to get our money. Hustling town of Adelante was... I think that's how you pronounce it. Adelante was full of new buildings and prosperous people. The copious construction work in town was sponsored almost single-handedly by Mr. La Fortuna. For the denizens of the Western Territory, La Fortuna was the embodiment of prosperity and modernity. Modernness. There we go. Let's see, we can go into the Cantina. The Cassandra visits the general store, although she felt awkward about making such a seemingly lowbrow request. That they find the local brothel. Let's not find the local brothel. Let's visit the general store. Okay, let's browse the wares, and we're going to sell stuff. Let's sell medical bags. Let's sell cocoa leaves. These are not going to really add up to our total, but I don't really need them. Let's get rid of the opium. That might actually help us just a little bit, and we'll throw the cash on top of it. Confirm. Do we really need anything else from here? Nothing's looking particularly good, so let's go ahead and trade it. So there's 110 more towards what we needed. Let's visit the Cantina. Cassandra was pleasantly surprised that the Cantina appeared safe and well run. Reviewed the latest headlines in search of any mentions of her misadventures. Had been minor, it seems she found only a small note about one of the events she had been involved in. Okay. Bartender nodded to Cassandra and gestured towards the Cantina's offerings. Let's go ahead and went out of town. And we're not going to do that just yet. Upon leaving Adelante, Cassandra had an unnerving but all too familiar feeling, a powerful premonition that made her head ache for days on end, and allowed the premonition to take her. Her skull blazed with pain as the vision took shape. Cassandra saw a stagecoach loaded with expensive luggage against a gorgeous mountain backdrop. Suddenly, a vulture's cry split the air. She looked up and saw several haggard birds circling overhead. As her premonition faded, she looked around for landmarks. She was positive she could pinpoint the location of the vulture's feast. So, yay, we can actually find stuff in the crashed stagecoach. Yay! Party soon arrived at the location of the stagecoach crash. The putrid smell of decay indicated the accident took place several days ago. A flock of vultures feasted upon the well-heeled passengers. One of the birds looked up from its feast, fixing the company with a rheumy glare before slowly flapping skyward. Hardin began rummaging through the pockets of the dead, whistling casually as though he were picking daisies. Cassandra, finding nothing of interest, was beginning to regret coming. I think it means beginning to regret coming. Then she spied a thin leather suitcase sitting in the dust. She discovered documents written in dark blue ink on thick paper. Okay, so we got a few things from that. Silver mine deed. Okay. Adorned with official stamps and seals, it appeared to be the deed to the silver mine somewhere in the Rockies. Cassandra pocketed it while her companions rummaged through the rest of the spoils. They left. There was apparently a psychic event there, but yeah, we didn't actually have the access to it at the time. So, what do we have in here as far as stuff goes? Remy Borgin. We already have a Remy Borgin. We don't really like it much to begin with. Dried meat increases maximum HP and increases maximum HP. We're not really interested in those. We are going to sell them as well. Let's go ahead and... let's go to the general store. Browse the wares. Come on. Come on. There you go. That's not that much money, though, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and confirm there, and confirm there, and give us cash. Thank you. Slowly building up that money, unfortunately. Let's go for... Nothing we can really do in there just yet. Fate Trader, nothing we can really do. Let's go to the pilgrimage first. See what's there. Cassandra and her companions came across a group of people camping out in the wild. They had numerous tents set up, along with carts and horses. There were wooden crosses and ornate incense holders everywhere they looked. A man wearing a priest's attire greeted him on behalf of his flock and said his name was K. Elspus. He explained that he was leading these people on their pilgrimage, but that they were currently enjoying a much-needed rest. Cassandra remarked that the beaten path around the camp suggested they'd been camping here for some time. Winston admitted in a low voice that Cassandra was right. They weren't resting at all. Actually, they were lost. His map turned out to be inaccurate. He couldn't bring himself to dash the hopes of so many pilgrims by telling them they had to go back. Thus far, he had been able to convince everyone that they were still on the Kalika Shrine Trail, while secretly tried to figure out where he was. Now he was losing hope of ever finding it. Oh. Explained that the Kalika Shrine was a pre-Columbian ritual site that contained carved figurines of human skulls adorned with Christian symbols, crosses, three-cornered symbols, and fish. According to the Elspus, The existence of these symbols confirmed that Christianity was the world's sole true religion. Unfortunately, however, the map he'd bought from a merchant in Adelante had proved false. Now he would need to admit his failure and destroy the faith and resolve of his flock. Alspus nodded fervently. He promised to share his supplies with Cassandra if she found a map. If he had heard... Okay, so we can't access psychic things for her just yet. He had heard that the Garcia Pimentel family library might contain clues to the shrines. Okay, so that's where we need to go for that one. There's also this place over here that is the Mexican Army fort. We're going to go ahead and try this. I do regret going to that without my psychic abilities available. Matron Palquera Adelmira Garcia Pimentel was one of the last venerable Garcia Pimentel clan which had flourished in the New World for hundreds of years. Now the family was a shadow of its former glory. But the Garcia Pimentel library remained the greatest and most complete collection of works dealing with the New World and the rise of Mexico. Mimi Garcia Pimentel jovially greeted Lydia as Cassandra had introduced herself, and guessed she was here to see the fabled library. Yeah, we're gonna quietly find the location of... Okay. Matron nodded and let them inside. They were joined by a scrawny figure in clothes that had once been very fine, but were clearly showing their wear. Matron Garcia Pimentel said this was her son, Porfirio, and that he would be their guide in the library. Cassandra courtesied, taking a closer look at the young man. On top of a hunched, scrawny body sat a large head with a bulging lump in the middle of his forehead. His skin was mottled and unnatural looking. He inclined his head slightly at all times. Ew. As they walked in the library, Porfirio told Cassandra about various landmarks in the area, spouting an endless stream of historical facts, interrupted by his slight stutter. Although at first he seemed consumed by his study of history, Cassandra soon realized his trembling hands, darting eyes, and blush meant something completely different. He was attempting to court her. In another context, it might have been endearing, but she was unsettled by the cold lump she felt in her stomach. Porfirio broke her reflections, asking whether there was anything in particular she would like to hear about. Okay, Calica Shrine. The Calica Shrine was the crown jewel of the area's historical attractions, believed to have been built long before the first Europeans set foot in the New World. It contained several painted sculptures called calicas that inexplicably bore ancient Christian symbols, fishes, crosses, various, and we read that before. The shrine was considered by many as the ultimate confirmation that Christianity was the world's true religion. There had been a minor military struggle over who controlled it, with the winner doing their utmost to camouflage its position. When they met their downfall, however, the precise location was lost to history. His deformed lips twisted in what Cassandra interpreted as an approximation of a smile. That he knew so much and he was sure he must know the location. When Cassandra pressed, he nodded his deformed head in confirmation. He said he would tell Cassandra the location in exchange for a kiss. Let's see. Clearly not used to being treated this way, Porfirio blinked a couple times and went to the desk and produced a detailed map of the area from one of his drawers. He then pointed out exact location of the shrine, Cassandra, and copied the major landmarks on the piece of paper, which he gave to her, then closed his eyes and presented his lips for a kiss. Do we want to shoot him? Let's go ahead and kiss him gently. So he grabbed her head and forced his... Oh, God. Let's go and backhand the floor. Smiled, sheepish, contented smile at her, then motioned back to the hall where the rest of her companions were waiting. Oh, yeah. Heart sunk when she reached the foyer to find Hardin unconscious on a chase lounge. Lady Garcia Pimentel explained that she had left the group alone with a bottle of brandy and returned to find him like this. She suggested that Cassandra and her friends stay the night and leave the next morning. We're gonna leave. I don't want to go where that one's going, I don't think. Got a 9 of diamonds. I think we're losing out on a bunch of things by not doing that, but I really don't like the vibes I'm getting from that. Okay, let's see. Okay, so if I switch over to having dodge rather than ricochet, or yeah, I'm gonna do... What's plus defense or they're both plus defense. So I'm going to do that instead of ricochet. We should. There we go. We got a straight now. So you're just going to have some cards. Close. Close. Okay, so now we have some cards. Let's go ahead and check the Calica Shrine. Arrived at the fabled Kalika Shrine, built into a cliffside. The pieces of masonry hanging from its entrance indicated that the river had been eating away at the land. Getting inside would be quite dangerous. Let's go ahead and be determined to get... After struggling with the ropes, the party entered the mouth of the moldy tunnel. In complete darkness, the floor shuddered with constant vibration, and there was a clattering sound that sounded like thousands of crustaceans skittering across stone. They then emerged into a bigger room where two narrow rays of light sifted through the surface. The shrine looked ancient and distinguished, apart from the skulls decorated with Christian symbols that they lay everywhere. These must be the Kalikas. Let's go ahead and we'll pack the Kalikas. Okay, passed Cassandra into the small room and started carefully packing into a sack. All the while, Cassandra looked around for signs of danger. She was almost disappointed not to find any poison darts, giant rolling stones, or rabid beasts. Okay. And decided to leave. They were barely out of the tunnel when the earth beneath their feet trembled and a large section of the cliff fell into the water. The entrance of the Kalika Shrine had collapsed. It would take serious excavation. Okay. So we spared our lives, and let's go ahead and talk to them. Yes, but the shrine had collapsed, was visibly shaken. He told of long days spent looking for the shrine and the sadness of his pilgrims. None of them would be able to admire the wondrous glory of the Kalikas. Proof of Christianity's supremacy over the religion. Okay. And chided him for wanting to steal the figures. Instantly dropped his act and dried his tears. In hushed tones, he admitted he'd scammed his followers into funding his expedition here. He said the Kalikas were worth a fortune, and they had a buyer lined up if the Kalikas were lost. However, all of his effort would be for nothing. Let's see what he has to offer. Cast her a look of understanding and smiled slightly. He then resumed his act full force, falling to the ground, praying and loudly thanking the Lord. I think we can sell them for more, but let's go ahead and accept it for now. And took the Kalikas in his own hands, a genuine tear of gratitude. He walked away, announcing the miracles to his followers. Okay. So we got 12,000 there. We're up to $15,000. And we got a bunch of cards for that, actually. So let's see what cards we got for that. Ooh, and we got Beast Hearing and Scavenger. I think we want Beast Hearing on her instead of Transfusion. So let's go ahead and drop that there. Reason being, increased sight. I mean, the extra HP would be nice, but... Oh, wait. Did we... How did we lose that? That should be a straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why does it say I have a pair? So, you are going to go there. You go there. That's 3, 4, and then straight. No, it just says I have a pair? Why? I have a straight. That's weird. Why does it not like the fact that I have a straight? It just has to be... Okay, fine. Whatever. I'm going to go ahead and keep that. I'm going to switch it over to... Which of these do I want to get rid of? I have to get rid of one. I want to keep Golden Bullet for sure. I guess I'll get rid of Dodge? There we go. That's a weird bug. And you are going to go for that, which gives you a pair for movement. Okay, let's see. We've got 2 more places to go. Let's go ahead and go to the Mexican Army Fort. Stronghold in Western Territory. The terrain was challenging and progress had been slow. They were grateful for the respite. Hardin offered to buddy up to the grunts. He said he'd see what they knew and maybe win some of their money. And yeah, we'll see what we can learn from the commander. Barbarillo Barueco greeted Cassandra gallantly with and offered refreshments. He excused his humble surroundings, explaining that order was maintained in this region by the private militias of wealthy industrialists such as Ricardo La Fortuna. Consequently, the Mexican military had only minor presence in this area. Let's go ahead and see what's going on. Told Cassandra that Mr. La Fortuna was a benefactor of the United Mexican States. The government trusted him and gave him many liberties. He explained that the blockade Cassandra had referred to was only a training exercise for his merchant fleet put on in response to the rise of piracy in the Caribbean. Yeah, let's go ahead and see what... He got it from his desk and looked through the window. Cassandra joining him. Hardin was quarreling with a soldier. The commander excused himself, leaving Cassandra alone in the room. Let's search the commander's desk. Small key and use it to unlock the commander's drawers, along with a collection of letters, a standard issue gun, some ammunition. She found one truly interesting, an army requisition form. It could almost certainly prove useful in the future. No one would miss it. In the corridor, she hastily closed everything and leapt back into her seat. The commander walked in, visibly upset, explaining that Hardin had gotten into trouble playing dice, that he would overlook it as a soldier shouldn't have been engaging in gambling in the first place. Should leave immediately and not return. Okay. Hardin's bruised countenance told tale of the... He got the crap beat out of him. With the soldiers as they left, he told her he had won some money, but more importantly, he'd acquired a pair of loaded dice. If Cassandra's skilled hands, any dice game would now be less of a gamble. Lovely. I think we want to keep that. Let's see. Let's go ahead and stop back over here. I don't think we have any misfortunes. Let's see. Let's go ahead and see if we can find anything out. They should find the bordello, his eyes lit with an unsavory glow, admonished him sternly, insisting this was strictly a business outing. Her head was starting to ache. It was only a matter of time before it dulled with pain. For hours or even days, they arrived at the brothel in time to witness a violent quarrel, an older, flamboyantly dressed woman beating an Indian prostitute with a billy club. Yeek. Cassandra guessed the older woman was the bordello's madam. Stared at the scene, frozen for a moment, agog. Instant later, Hardin rushed at the madam, landing a full-force punch in the middle of her face with a crutch. As she sprawled on the floor, dazed and screaming, Hardin rushed to the native woman, helping her up. He hugged him. She hugged him as she cried, covering him with kisses in a way that suggested they had more than a passing familiarity with one another. Okay. Okay. Hardin and his native acquaintance joined Cassandra as soon as they could. She wasted no time reprimanding him for attracting the attention of the entire town and doubtless the authorities. Hardin explained that he had no choice, his duty to defend Felicia. Apparently, they had known each other for some time. Cassandra guessed Hardin was one of her regulars. Apologized for the trouble, but said that without her job, she had nowhere to go. Hardin suggested that she could join Cassandra's posse, as she was a good shot as good company. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get her. Okay, the group left, so we now have Felicia. Team returned to the town. Let's go ahead and visit the general store, browse the wares, and loaded dice. I think we're going to actually equip that. So we can't just sell it. That kind of sucks. So, inventory. There you go. Get her luck up to 170 now. Oh, Jesus. That's actually up there. That's getting up there. Is there anything else we can do for money? Hardin was... Oh, yeah, because he had... Yeah. Good job. So that basically just cost him the rest of his thing. We only have 15,000 right now. Outlaw gambling den. The venue was set up in a cliffside cave in an ancient Indian pueblo. There were no lights on the outside, but Hardin pointed out 2 guards concealed against the crumbling walls. Next to a narrow entrance with thick black curtain inside, they found a wide repertoire of gambling tables, an assortment of colorful, dangerous-looking characters, and an ample supply of liquor. Let's go ahead and join a dice game. Cassandra felt the weight of the dice in her hand. Let's go ahead and rattle the dice and predict the outcome. But there's so many chances for each movement of the hand, but she got something out of it. She won 257 pesos. Let's go ahead and replace them with there. 270 pesos. Return to the lobby. Leave. Let's go ahead and wander back over this way. Let's see if we can get her to actually reactivate her abilities here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and ask for a room. Okay, return to the cantina. See if there's any. Okay. Minor at sea. Okay, so we don't really have a record yet, so they're not going to really be coming after us. Leave. And it's going to cost us 30 to actually stay there, so we actually need to... Eavesdropping his story. Prospector claimed to own a map to the wreck of an old Spanish treasure ship. Cassandra felt she was already losing her lucky streak. Ugh. Okay, Cassandra saw the man suffers a violent death, thoroughly distressed her, but obtained no... Okay, keep going. As the searing pain pierced her brain, she saw the prospector lying dead in an old shipwreck surrounded by piles of gold. As the vision faded, she managed to recognize a landmark that pinpointed 3 possible locations for the wreck. She came back to reality and nearly collapsed from exhaustion. Okay, so we now have those 3 locations. I'm not sure which one's the right one. But let's go ahead and rest here again. Let's go ahead and enter the cantina. Rest. Okay. Went out of town. Leave. Okay. So we have 15,000. We've got 3 wrecks to investigate. I'm not sure which one's going to be the right one. So let's go ahead and just go to the left and go all the way to the right. Looked like a beached whale. When Cassandra's team headed inside, they found it filled with the dead bodies of its crew and passengers. Hair was heavy with stench, and of the dead, Cassandra knew dangers decomposing bodies presented. Let's give it a wide berth. Let's see what the other ones say just real quick. Decomposing wreck of a caravel, almost entirely disintegrated. They could barely make out the names of the side of the ship. Lewis, I'm forgetting what that one is. Cassandra doubted it would yield much. I know the X's and the V's and the I's. I forget whether L is... C is hundreds. L might be 50? I'm not sure. No, M is 50. What the hell is L? I forget. Okay. Okay, she decided to search the wreck anyway. Hardin stepped on a sea urchin and had to be helped, limping into the shore. Closer inspection of the wreckage yielded an ivory comb, some golden teeth worth 100 pesos or so. Hardin suggested there might be more valuables at the bottom of the bay, but that obtaining them would mean contending with more dangerous sea fauna. I'm gonna have Paco dive. After a number of attempts, the swimmer finally gave up, wincing in pain as they emerged from the water. Okay. So there was nothing really in there. I probably should have sent, what's-her-face in there. But let's go ahead and heal you up because you guys got injured. Yeah, we can sell other stuff for it. But let's go ahead and check the derelict. The ancient shipwreck of a Spanish galleon sat in a small cove that looked harmless enough. The name on the bow read Amaya Calvo. The air smelled of dried seaweed and mold. Let's go ahead and follow her inside. Descending in the cargo hold, the team found crates filled with valuables and expensive materials. Much of the treasure had decayed with time, however, a good portion of the silver and gold objects could be salvaged with a significant amount of work. Yeah, let's go ahead and get it. Hardin became wary. He told Cassandra that the longer they stayed there, the better chance someone would arrive. Perhaps they lay in wait and attack them once they had retrieved all of the treasure. Let's go ahead and retrieve them. The attack came at dawn. Cassandra and companions fought valiantly, but the bandits still managed to injure some of the party. Paco was hit in the arm. The wound bled prodigiously. Worse still, the shots could be heard for miles. Cassandra cursed the thought that the authorities might be alerted. Despite the injury, however, the team recovered all the loot in the ship, and it totaled several thousand pesos. So we now have enough.
25,000 pesos.
Yay, we got the money on this one. That was a long one for just doing some of that. I don't know if I actually want to go into a battle with this one, though. So let's go ahead and heal Paco. And let's go check the last one. We need to go to the reception hall to play the poker game, but I'm going to do that. Felicia became agitated, saying it was a pitch blend. Saying it was pitch bend, the nausea-inducing, vitality-draining. The name's called Curse Rock. She ran out, shouting to the others. The same Hardin shouted after Felicia that she was a superstitious coward. She shouted back to Hardin that he was an overbold fool. Let's ignore them. Cassandra managed to find the captain's personal luggage along with some ancient photographs. Broken watch engraved the name Franco Morales. It might be worth 100 pesos to a collector. She had resolved to look for more, but suddenly felt faint. After a brief moment of confusion, she fell to the ground unconscious. Nauseated, weak, unable to travel the company, forced to camp on the beach that day. Yay! Curse Rock sickness. We're going to have to heal that as well. Thankfully, we have plenty of money. So, heal one of their number. Yeah, go ahead and get over it. You're healed now. Oh, and we can't go to the Fate Trader. Aww. I don't know why it locked off the Fate Trader, but now we can't go there and buy things. So, anyway, I think next episode, this was just a big exposition dump, really, honestly. We're going to go to the reception hall. Let's leave. So, keep gaming, have fun, peace out. This has been Alzorath. Bye.